Are we live? Are we live? Yes, it should be working now. I accidentally went live on the LP Army TV YouTube, but we should be good to go. Welcome everyone. Welcome at Meteora Philippines. Thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you, Synexter. Thank you, EYS. It was a pleasure getting everything set up with you guys. But I guess we can go ahead and start it off. I am doing basically the intention was to do kind of a Q&A for you guys. I know Synexter gave gave one category he wanted to go over, so we're gonna touch on risk reward of DLMM pools and some other stuff. So I think I'm not sure how familiar everyone here is with DLMMs, and it doesn't look like we have any comments, so I'm just gonna start talking for a little bit. So usually what I am getting involved in when I am using Meteor to trade meme coins, I'm using a one-sided Solana strategy. So what that means is, let's say I'm opening a pool on this token, for example. What that means is when I'm adding the position, 99% of the time, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to disable autofill. When you have autofill enabled, it's going to make it so that you have to deposit tokens on the upside. This adds more risk because you're buying the token for the upside. So instead what I do is come to add position, disable autofill, put in whatever Solana. This is going to generate a default range for you. 70 bins is the default range. It used to be 69. Anyways, this is usually not what I will stay at. Usually, at least if you are starting, go ahead and change this bottom bracket, this bottom range to minus 87%. This is going to ensure you cover three 50% moves down. Thank you for reposting the stream, Isla. This is going to account for three 50% moves down before you're out of range. Also, what I do, and this is up for debate, I know some people do use spot, aka the evil panda strat, but personally, I've just found ever since I first started that bid ask is going to be your best friend, especially when you are starting, especially when you aren't as confident in the token. Bid ask allows you to have a lot more leniency. You're going to suffer less impermanent loss with bid ask, right? You might make a little bit less if it just hangs around here and goes up, but that is completely okay. We are still going to do bid ask mostly. So that is what we are going to as long as you know that, if you can copy and repeat this strategy, whatever Solana you want to put in, it doesn't. Good morning, Synexter. Time to clip. I'll try. I think this first one, it's actually pretty rare that I go over the strategy, so going over just the copy and paste bid ask strategy, I think is actually kind of helpful for people to know. So yes, I was showing, disable autofill. Just put in whatever Solana you're comfortable with. Usually you can go bid ask, and then I usually go at least minus 87% usually. And I just copy and repeat that on tokens that I believe in, and that's really the only thing you need to know with my strategy. I will say, if you want to get a little bit more fancy with it, what you can do occasionally is, let's say you wanted to put in, a little bit more spot, because sometimes I actually mix the bid ask curve and spot. What's up, EYS or Ease? I don't know how you want me to pronounce that. Thanks for helping me out on the Twitter last night and this morning. But anyways, so if you are feeling a little bit more confident in the token and you want a little bit more exposure instead of just having bid ask, if you want to add spot and you think the token isn't going to dump super hard, for example, if you thought that the token was going to maybe come down to this little bin right here and come back up, which isn't really that deep, if you thought it was going to do something like that, you could layer on a little bit spot. So after you create your liquidity pool, you can actually go here and layer on whatever curve you want to make it more in the shape that you want it to be in. So for example, if I wanted to add in a small percentage spot, I'm actually putting around 20% spot here. So you could do that. and now you have your little bit of a custom curve. You find with 100 bin bid ask, you don't commit if it's only 100. So one thing that you can, good question. One thing that you can use as kind of a guideline is on less popular tokens, which I sometimes do touch. Like sometimes I'll go into a pool that only has 1,000 or even less TVL. Sometimes in those pools, if you try to make that wide minus 87% curve, you're gonna have to pay for the bins. Sometimes it will be non-refundable down here if people haven't paid for the array yet. So you find with 100 bin bid ask. So 100 bin isn't going to get us really my desired range. Like I wouldn't be super comfortable going 100 bin range in a pool. Like this would be 100 bins is what? Minus 62%. This is pretty low for me because you'll notice that a lot of tokens drop below 62% very, very frequently over time. So if I will say the loophole that I was gonna get to is if for some reason you can't make the full range, then what you can do is just decrease your size a little. So instead of putting in your full size, what you might make, or in terms of what I would do, in terms of what I would put in on a minus 87% range, I would try to break that up. So if I normally go 4 Solana on the minus 87%, I might only be going like 0.5 here if I can only cover up to 64%. Does that make sense? But usually I am going to try to get that range, but if for some reason I get cut off at minus 75%, minus 60%, maybe even shorter, then I'm going to adjust my size accordingly because there's no way that I'd be throwing the same size I do in my minus 87% ranges. There's no way I'd be throwing in the same size that I would here on a way tighter range. Minus 65% doesn't seem that far from minus 87%, but it actually really, really is. It's a lot shorter. So, but anyways, I think we have gone over. Does that help, Byte Wizard? I think that's what you were asking. So if that is not correct, just clarify and I can answer something else. So, one other thing, Synagster was mentioned risk reward. I'm not sure if he was actually curious about that or if he was just trying to give me topics. um, but risk reward. So there is a few things that I want to talk about in terms of risk reward. Risk reward comes in a few forms, and they kind of work inversely on DLMMs. And the reason I say that is because risk reward, you want to judge risk reward on quality of the token, how much you believe in the meme, and also fee generation. So this is hard because the highest fee generation usually comes on very early tokens. So within the first 24 hours of a token is usually when there are exceptions to this, but they're very rare. They're few and far between. The first 24 hours are usually going to be the highest fee generation, and especially like early tokens, tokens that are 100, 200k. Not that I play tokens that low all the time, but what I'm saying is the earlier in the inception of a token, the better fee generation. Now, the later in the token means it's going to be usually more established, right? Something like Wojak, something like Kermit, something like Karumi. These are all tokens. We can actually look at Karumi because this is just a great example. These are all examples of a token that is surviving for a long time but might not have the best fee generation. So you have to weigh these kind of inversely because something like Troll or something massive market cap, something like 6-7. These are better risk reward in terms of these tokens aren't going to rug to zero, most likely. But the issue is that the fee generation on these gets so low. So you have to like weigh. You're like, okay, how high is the fee generation? How high of a risk is a meme, right? And then you have to ask, how good of the meme is it? Is it worth this bad fee generation? So they work kind of like inversely, if you know what I mean. That's just something to keep in mind. That is why I usually do stay away from like more established tokens. I am in 6-7 for example, right now. I am LPing this token, but this is an exception for me, even though the fee generation is so low. Like, I was like $400 in range. I've been in this range for a while, and while $200 or almost 2 SOL is not bad, it's not great for all how deep I was in range. Like, my impermanent loss was a lot heavier than the fee generation at some points. So even though the reason I'm LPing this token is because I think it does have a future, and the 6-7 meme is still very big, so that's why it weighs on the RR scale for me to be in this thing, because I actually like the meme and I'm willing to take the chance. So not that the RR was anything concrete there, but it's important to know, obviously, earlier token, higher fee generation, more risk of the meme going to zero. But the later the token is, the more confidence you can have in it, but the less fee generation. And you really do have to keep that in mind, because, for example, on something like Troll, I was actually LPing this range for like 3 months with a decent amount of size. And the most I was up was maybe 300 at this point, which I, in hindsight, should have gotten out at, but I stayed in the range because I thought I was safe. And I had a decent sized range on this, or not decent, but in theory it seems wide, like, right, 60.1%, 60.9% range on this. It seemed wide enough for such a high cap, but it fell out of the bottom. I was forced to take the loss, and it wasn't a big loss, obviously, because I'd farmed a decent amount of fees, but I wasn't in profit. I know that I was either break even or tiny loss on this, and it just goes to show, even though I was in range for 3 months, I still had to cut it just because it didn't end up working out. What is your best DLMM strategy? So, welcome, Kurt. So one thing, I can go over this a little bit more quickly. I did cover it at the beginning. But basically, what I am doing most of the time, 99% of the time, is I just go a single-sided SOL, so go single-sided SOL on the liquidity pool, and I go bid ask. Like 99% of the time, this is all I do. And I usually am covering, I'm aiming to cover at least minus 87% down. So minus 87% down on Kurumi right now is 222K. If you ever want to plot out your range on a chart, what you can do is just go over to this sidebar, go to price range, and now if you want to actually know how your range is stacking up on Meteor, it's going to show you what market cap it goes down to. Makes it a lot easier. Regardless, a single-sided SOL, bid ask usually, and I'm going to show you how we can set that up. We're actually going to go and open a live pool on Kurumi because I do want exposure to this token. So we're going to grab the CA. We have our range mapped out. We're covering down to 229K. I honestly, even though I do believe in this token, I'm probably going to go even lower. I'm probably going to go down to 90.63. And the reason I'm going so wide is just because the market has been, even though the market's strong, some tokens still are just dropping super, super low. So always better safe than sorry. It's better to make less on your pool than losing money. You know what I mean? So anyways, going back to the pool, we're going to go ahead and search this. Now, going to the actual pool setup and what it looks like. Obviously, we're on the Meteor homepage. Go to add position. Make sure autofill is disabled, because if you have autofill enabled, obviously, I think you guys know what happens. It's going to create a curve where you have to deposit the tokens. This is very, very, very rarely something I do. Less than 1% of the time, I'm going two-sided, which is why I don't teach that. I don't really recommend that. So we're going to put in our range, and when you are starting, you can do mixes of bid ask and spot. But the majority, in my opinion, based on my experience, based on what works for me, is always ideal to go bid ask. So here, you're going to go down to this bottom bar. We want to cover a minus 90% range. We type that in. Perfect. All of the bins are bought on this pool. We are good to go. So what you can do, like I was talking about earlier, if you're just starting, just go bid ask and do this strategy. Minus 87 to minus 90%. And if the bins aren't bought, then if you can only achieve like a minus 70 or a minus 60% range, because the bins down here are going to cost in non-refundable Solana. You see how we're good here, refundable Solana down here. We don't have to pay for anything. But if for some reason you have to pay non-refundable, then and you want exposure to the token still, just use smaller size. Use smaller size on your range. So you don't care to take profit on meme coin. Your plan is to take profit on fees only. Good question. I'm going to show you some examples right after this. So after we're setting up this range, right? So something like this, because I actually am kind of confident on Kurumi, I'm actually going to go a little bit heavier here. And 90% is still what we want to go. So I'm not going to do it in this case, but if for some reason we wanted a little bit more exposure towards the top of the token, and we thought it wasn't going to go down as less, after we create our bid-ask range, we can go ahead and layer in some spot. Now what this does is it just adds a little bit more liquidity at this closer range, right? It's going to add liquidity evenly throughout. That's what spot does. But if for some reason you want some sort of a hybrid curve, you can add in a little bit spot on top of bid-ask, just to make it a little bit higher fee gen. Again, if you're just starting, no need to do this. Just keep it simple with bid-ask. But yes, that is how we set up the range. So you don't care to take profit on meme coin. Your plan is to take profits on fees only. So, decent question. It depends. So there are two types of plays, really. Hertz, what's up? I forgot I was live on. Hopefully you guys. I know it's 10 p.m. for you guys in the Philippines, but good night. I'm drinking tea. It's morning for me, but cheers. Mirko, what's up? Welcome in. Welcome in. Let's LFG Met PH on top. So we're going to go over a few of these scenarios that can happen when we're doing this strategy. So Kurumi, I was actually in this this whole little range that I mapped out. This is where I was in the pool earlier, and this thing did very, very well for me. The fee generation on this was absurdly high. For whatever reason, sometimes you come across tokens that just generate fees way better than other tokens. You try to look for a rhyme or reason. Sometimes it's just high volume. Sometimes it's the volatility. Sometimes it's the way the liquidity pool is set up. But regardless, I recognized very early that this was a very good token to be in. This made the risk reward of being in this pool so high. It was so high that I actually opened another range on here within here. Okay, so here are the scenarios. Nah, he said, don't care, we won't sleep tonight. Now that we have some Meteor PH guys in here, thank you for having me on. I look forward to seeing the channel grow and you guys locking in this next year. So good luck. Let me know even after the stream if you have any questions. I'm always happy to help out. Okay, going into the scenarios, once we set up our one-sided SOL bid-ask strategy. So there are two strategies, right? And it depends on your belief of the token. And you can play it by ear. You can see how it goes and decide later. But what you're normally looking for is for the token to drop somewhat into your range, hopefully range here for a bit, get some good movement, and then come back out for higher. In this scenario, obviously you believe in the token because you believe it's going to drop down, but you believe it's going to eventually come out of the top of your range. This is a scenario where you might not want to sell any fees yet. Even if you get spikes in your range, these are always, whenever you get a nice spike in your range, that's never really a bad time to get out. So think about these spikes. Never a bad time to get out because usually you're going to be in profit here. But if for some reason, for whatever intrinsic reason you have, you believe this token is going to 10 mil, then you're not going to want to sell your fees. And then whatever you put in here, in my case it was 5 SOL. So 5 SOL, if it did this, I'd probably have like 0.5 SOL of fees that I can hold for higher. Second scenario is you don't believe in the token. You think the token, the only reason you're in the token is because of good volume and high fee generation. That's the only reason you're in. You don't actually believe it's going to stick around. In this case, you would be expecting something like this. And keep in mind, each of these scenarios can happen regardless of what you think, but I'm just saying, what your plan is. So in this scenario where you don't believe in the token, you think it might drop down, come down pretty deep in your range, and then get one spike. So usually, if you get a decently strong spike in your range, depending on how big is going to determine how much profit you make. But usually, when you're doing this strategy, bid ask all the way down, you really just need one strong bounce in your range, and then you can get out for profit. So if for some reason you don't believe in this token, right? You don't believe it's going to come all the way back out of your range and go higher. This is a scenario where you are just waiting, taking advantage of the volume on the way down, and then you get your one spike. You should be in profit here. Then you are able to get out. So these are the really two scenarios you're looking for. And then obviously there's a scenario where it dribbles out, fades to zero, goes beneath your range. And now what I always teach my group is that whenever it goes out of range here, this is your stop loss. This should be your mental stop loss, because once it goes out of range, there's no benefit from you being in the token. You're not earning fees, and especially if this thing is fading to zero, you want to get out of this quick, because let's say you're down at the bottom of this range. My 5 SOL would probably be worth 3 SOL. So I'd be down about 2 SOL at the bottom of this range, usually. Depending if for example the coin ranged forever and then faded out, I would have more in fees. But if it dribbles all the way down instantly, this is something where I'm gonna be down probably 2 SOL. It's way more ideal, I promise you, to take that loss than have this thing go to legit zero and you lose everything you put in. That is literally the worst feeling, and it's happened to me a lot of times in December. And that's why I just stress, as soon as you get out of range, you're going to want to go ahead, withdraw. When this is all purple, you're going to want to hit withdraw, go ahead, get out. There are scenarios, right? Everyone has experienced this. There are scenarios where the token drops out and you don't want to sell. Like it comes down to here and you give it a little bit of time and then it spikes back and you're good. I've done that, admittedly, but it's really not a good habit to get into. It's really not, because cutting your loss is really going to be the one reason why you're going to be able to grow your account, is your risk management and not taking massive losses. The only reason I wasn't profitable in December is because I let so much stuff go to zero. What's up, Sunmi? Happened to you right now on Tata. I'm sorry. I know it's hard. It's hard. Yeah, sorry, Hurts. I'm not really looking too much, but yeah, I think I covered a decent amount of stuff so far. Do you guys have any specific questions for me? Do you have any questions about the strategy we're kind of utilizing here? It's pretty simple, right? You kind of have the 3 options, and then there's a 4th option here where it just either goes straight up from the price you enter and you don't get anything. This is always fine. If it pumps up from here, maybe I'll rebid it, but usually I just move on to something else if it goes straight up from here. And then your other scenarios, obviously, just hangs around here for a bit and goes up and you make like $1 or 50 cents, whatever it might be. So yes, that is really what we were usually looking for. I guess I can go into token selection. That's a little bit more hairy. Did you able to bid ask Ralph? That coin went crazy from 2 mil to 55K. I actually stayed out of Ralph. I played it for like I was in range for maybe 20 or 30 minutes at the very beginning, and then after it had that massive run, I just stayed away. But I had friends that got like really hurt on this thing. But this is a scary token. Once tokens really start running, I guess I was drawing on it. I don't know what I was doing here. I have no idea what these drawings could have been. No idea. But this might have been where I was LPing. But the scary thing about these tokens is like it runs so high that when you are bid asking, you have to go really wide, because 90% down from 5.6 is like 560K. So I guess you could have technically covered it. You could have technically covered it and barely gone out of range. But for example, if you set that up at 7 mil, then you would be entirely out of range at this point. And it dropped all the way down to, what did Synag say? 300k. So it's a little bit scary on this one. Maybe, I mean, you could even go like if you were, not that you can ever predict something like this, but it wasn't unlikely. And I was just hesitant on this token to begin with. But to be honest, like looking at it now, if you were somehow able to nail this range, this would have been really ideal to be in. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard on something like that because of how low it went, you know? Like you would literally have had to have a minus 94% range to be from the top, obviously. Another thing you can do, this is not something I've done recently, but if you want to be a little bit more precise, you can, even if the token is up here, there's no reason that you can't set up your range lower, which is going to actually allow you to, it's actually going to allow you to cover a little bit better. Like you could honestly start bidding it at 3 mil. That's completely fine. You don't need to start bidding up here. Okay. Bro, I know. Alex has been cooking hard. What if you LP something, then after you wake up, you saw that the token rug or becomes down so fast? How you come up with that boss for beginners like me? There's not really a good solution. The best solution that we have here is just going way wider. I know where's Alex at? I wonder if it's daytime for him. I think it might be. I think it might be. It might be like evening. So the main solution that the main protection you're gonna be able to have on that stuff is choosing tokens. I know this is gonna sound dumb, but choosing tokens that don't rug overnight. And this is hard because I've gotten wrecked on a few tokens lately. Brain, I luckily got out by the skin of my teeth. I got out of this one, actually for profit. But like for example, um, this is something where I was LPing this from all the way up here. Or I forget where it was, maybe like right here. And I got out of range just barely. So this was approximately my range, right? And I woke up when it was like literally like right here. So that was sketchy. And you know, I'm telling you about this risk management and how you're supposed to cut the loss once it comes out of range, but for some reason it was so low. It was at like 99k that I gave it just a little bit of time and I got out. But for example, something that didn't work out for me is the other house coin that was on Bonk. Um, I got rugged on this one overnight. So as you can see, the only really protection you're going to have is, let's say you're bidding up here, is to go literally even lower. You would have had to have a minus 94%, minus 95% range on this to be safe. So I am telling you guys minus 90, minus 87. But in these examples, we can see that covering minus 95 or 94 is going to give you that protection you need. And then the other option is just choosing tokens that don't do this. I know that's like really hard and basic, but that's where the skill comes in, and that's where the persistence comes in because I've had to cut some of these. I actually took a loss here, even though it had this bounce. Believe it or not, even though it had this big old bounce to here and here to here. This is a token that I took maybe a 1.5 soul loss on because it just came out of the bottom. And even though it ended up bouncing, this is an example of where I did stick to my discipline and I just got out like right here, took the loss, and it went on to do this whole thing. I know it's super frustrating when you cut your loss and it comes back, but I'm telling you, over time, this is going to pay off way more. Almost 100 viewers. Is that true? Oh my goodness. He is the one who created Metlex. Is that helpful? Kurt was asking, yeah. Yeah, there's not really a good answer though. It's really about choosing tokens that don't do that. But you know, I still pick tokens that I take losses on in rug. But like I'm telling you, by going wide, especially in this market, if we get a market where coins stop doing this and they start hanging out here, you're gonna know the market's gonna kind of get. We're kind of getting there. We kind of got there with like entropy and stuff. But for now, I'm telling you, if you can just go wide, wide, wide all the time, it's just going to protect you for now. You don't need to make a ton of money right now. It's just about learning and getting used to everything. So next year just says, just use bid-ask, guys. Other strategy fucks me up so bad. I mean, you're not wrong. This is what I've been doing for. I think I've used this strategy. Obviously, there are occasions where I use spot or something else. Um, but this is the same strategy I've been using for almost like a year and a half now. You know. And then I guess we can go over token selection in a little bit. Token selection is a little weird though because it's all going to be personal. Like each individual is going to have different tokens that they think are good, but there are going to be certain tokens that are undeniably good. For example, Kurumi back here was undeniably good. The fee generation was so high that it made the risk reward so good to just be in here. You know what I mean? 107 viewers, awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate all of you. And welcome Kyoko. I'm not sure. Oh, I'm not sure if you have been in here, but welcome, welcome, welcome. So let me give you, since we don't have any questions right now, let me show you guys some stuff. So if you guys have been following the shorts I've posted or whatever over the past few months, I'd say April through October-ish was a time period where I had a very specific strategy. I was picking tokens that were like viral on TikTok, so things that I considered decent memes. So I'm going to show you, for example, Boat Kid was one of them. I assume you guys remember this guy. Um, I saw a bunch of plays like this folding out. I would see something early that was viral, that had decent volume. Obviously wasn't a farm, I could tell just by my naked eye. Looking at the volume and the price action, knew it wasn't completely farmed. And then, for example, Fa, right? Another kind of viral TikTok trend, like the sound effect where it's like Fa, you know. And that worked very well in October. And then we had the Lion, also worked very well. The Lion was the meme where it's like the lion, does not concern himself with blank. So I was hitting some decent LPs. By just playing memes that I knew had decent value. This stopped working. This stopped working like November. Market just changed, whatever. But during this time, I stopped chasing coins that had high volume and I was really trying to focus on tokens that I believed in, even if the daily return, the daily volume wasn't all that high. Because even though I was LPing it in this range, you can see the volume is not very good here. The fee generation really wasn't that great. So now, at this point, um, I saw your comment, Mirko. Sorry, I'm gonna finish this real quick. So nowadays, I'm trying to be more fluid. I'm trying not to take longer term positions on coins unless they are printing very well. So for example, I'm going to use an example of TPayX and PSOC. So these are tokens that actually had, interesting. These are tokens that had more of a tech narrative. I forget what the lore is on SockQubit, but these are both tokens that I was in solely because the feed generation was super good. Now this isn't like this obviously doesn't fit in with my classic narrative of a viral TikTok meme. So this is something that I've been in recently. I was actually down, believe it or not, on this token for a little bit at this low point here. But I was LPing this all the way back here. from like here to here, and it was printing very well. Or actually, I think it was probably here to here, and then I sold some fees right up here. So you can see on the pool that I have 245 of fees that I've already claimed and sold, and I stayed in it because it was just very good fee generation. Hopefully, we get a stronger pump here. But for example, this is something TPayX is like some technology, like third-party payments or crypto payments, whatever it might be. Didn't really care too much about the tech. Blockchain powered cross-border neobank for merchants, whatever. So that's something where obviously not viral TikTok meme, but the risk reward being in it from the fee generation was very good, so that's why I'm playing it. Do you remember Apple and Dogmouth? I actually do remember that. What was it called? Was it called Apple? I think it was called Apple. Yeah, dog with apple in mouth. Um, I actually didn't play this one. I didn't really understand it that much either, and it wasn't like super viral to me. I actually have a friend. I have a friend in real life, one of my friends from when I was younger, who I obviously talk to like daily. He doesn't know anything about meme coins, but he always texts me whenever there is a viral TikTok trend that's popping up. So he's my TikTok quant. I use his call outs whenever there's something. I look to see if there's a token for TikTok. So yeah, I don't understand this one. If it was viral, then if it was a decent meme, I'm not sure if it was viral on TikTok or not. But this wouldn't have been a bad range to play. Keep in mind, um, after you get this sort of move at least one time, it's usually best to move on, unless for some reason you believe the token is going to 100 mil. And even here, this is not something that really fits into my playbook, just for the simple fact that, oh, this is back in 2024. Okay, never mind. It's kind of irrelevant now then. Um, but this is something where like usually 40 mil coins is not something I'm going to play just because the pool is going to be super diluted. This one's already pretty diluted. But like I said, once it gets higher market cap, it's more established. The fee generation is just not going to be as high. Yeah, it's pre-Trump. Yeah, all of those coins were legendary. And I'm not sure. I assume most of you guys weren't around at this time or December of last year before pre-Trump, but the feed generation on tokens was honestly so much better. Looks like Entropy's kind of taking a turn for the worst. Oop, I didn't mean to open this. I'm actually going to close this right now, just because I don't want more exposure. Yeah, agreed. I don't think there's a meta right now. Random coins going up, which is fine. That's just where the market is right now. But yeah, you're 100% right. There's not too much of a theme. So it's better to be more fluid with your positions. Get in and out, take your profit, move on to the next one is really the name of the game right now, in my opinion. But yeah, that's kind of how my token selection has changed over the past year or whatever, past 8 months, whatever it might be. But yeah, when Pump Fund AMM came out, like post Libra, the fee generation on tokens just got way worse. I'm not sure if it was for some reason because of the pump AMMs. I assume it is, or maybe there's just less volume. But yeah, definitely got worse after that. Like around November, 134 views. Oh wait, I didn't even retweet it, dude. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't even retweet the actual stream. Give me a sec. Alright, I reposted it. We should be good. Sheesh, what's up, Greggy? I forget what I was saying, but we've actually covered a good bit. First stream 130. Yeah, that's honestly, I think that's way more than I get on on my own channel. So, thank you guys for the engagement. I appreciate it. This is the first time I've woken up before like 10 a.m. in like a long, long time. So thank you guys for getting me up early. But yeah, I think we've gone over my usual strategy. We've gone over risk reward. We've gone over token selection, expectations for pools, and we've gotten it all done. This is probably like one of the more educational, better streams I've had. Thanks, Sinag. Thanks, Sinag, for the shout out. Have you guys been struggling with anything specifically? I assume going out of range and all of that. Thank you, Greggy. I'll follow you back right now. Um, um, is there anything you guys have been struggling with? I assume, like I said, going out of range is probably something that most people struggle with. But like, if you're setting up ranges and you're getting frustrated because you're using my strategy and you're going minus 90% or whatever it might be, and the token is just hanging out here and going up, and you're making just a very, very small amount, that is okay. That is okay. I promise you. You don't need, if a token does something like this, that doesn't mean that your range should have been way tighter, in my opinion. It doesn't mean that your range should have been, minus 30%. That is not really how it works. If for some reason it does something like this and doesn't get much action, that's fine. Just wait until something goes deep into your range. Because I promise you, with the way these tokens are going, coin filtering. Coin filter. Okay. So I'll walk you through kind of my usual day-to-day operation for scanning tokens. Number one, you guys might call me a boomer for this. That's okay. But dexscreener.com has always been my favorite place to look at coins. I'm just pretty OG in terms of using this site. So what I used to do back in the day is I would just launch up DexScreener homepage. It used to be way simpler like a year plus ago. And I would just right click, open link in new tab. I'll go all the way down on all of these tokens. And then I would just eyeball them. Whale Guru, whale derivative, not going to play that. This is actually something that has been going crazy, but it's so high. I don't. It's not risk reward wise great for me to be in this, and I think that this thing could die down super low. So this is something I skipped. I know some people played this. If you made money on it, good, but it's just not something that I liked. And I would just go through, eyeball everything. It takes like 2 seconds. Another whale derivative, not gonna play that. This is an obvious farm, not gonna play that. Shitcoin, the price action looks good, but this volume down here is concerning to me. So I don't like when the volume has like a consistent body. Like you see how it kind of has this body. I don't like that as much. I like something more sporadic. I like when it dies down really low. For example, on Karumi. For example, on Karumi, wherever that is. Do you see how the volume is a lot more sporadic here? This looks organic to me. Something like shitcoin, you see how it's way more bodied up on the volume here, it's way thicker. This is not something I like to see. Even though the volume looks high and whatever, this seems like botted in a farm to me. So that's why I didn't play this one. Even though on paper, on first glance, the price action looks decent. Entropy, we are in that one. Groiper. So going back to scanning for tokens, always ideal. This is obviously a farm. So, like I said, it's not super, super difficult to decipher tokens. So, number one, DexScreener homepage. This gives you a decent feeling for what metas are popping off, how much volume we're getting on the main runners. It's always just good to look at this homepage. Now, I'm going to show you one of the ones I scan if after I get a general vibe for the market conditions. Now I'm going to show you the other DexScreener scanner that I use. So this is something that I wake up and check every day. I have it bookmarked, but basically these are the filters. So 10K minimum liquidity market cap. I mean $10,000 minimum liquidity, I'm sorry. And then I just go 100K market cap minimum to 40 mil market cap max. This just ensures I don't get more like fake tokens, and usually I'm never going to play anything over 40 mil anyway. So that keeps it simple. Pair age, 36-hour max, and then 200k 24-hour volume minimum. So these are really, really basic filters, but it's just going to ensure that I get I see the tokens that I don't want to miss. So, right, most of these tokens don't have dex paid. So if they don't have an icon here, that means their dex screener is not paid. Usually if it's not dex paid, I'm not going to touch it. Um, so what I do in this case, after I do my first little review on all of the tokens that are popping, I'm going to go here. I'm usually going to open every single token that's dex paid just to check it out quickly. So just going down, this one's dex paid, this one's dex paid. Even if the names are really bad, there's not going to be many tokens that are down here, so that's fine to just glance at, you know what I mean? So now we have all these open. Not sure what the lore is on this one. Maybe some girl or something, I don't know. Not something I'm going to touch. Not something I'm going to touch. This is clearly a farm based on the abnormal volume. You never want volume that looks like this, ever. Like I was saying with the noisy volume, that's something I stay away from, but this is just clearly a fake token. Or fake volume. You see how it always forms these weird levels? Never what you want to see. Dev by Claude, doesn't really seem like something I'm going to be interested in. And keep in mind, you see how I'm just exiting out of stuff quickly? You don't have to play every token. It's actually better to just wait until you find something that you actually think has a decent narrative. This has been done a million times, still not the chart I want to look at. Psyop Queen. Again, volume is decent, price action is decent. I don't get the lore. I'm fine sitting out on it. I'm fine sitting out on it. So, going through these, nothing is sticking out to me. But at least I know all the tokens that are coming out. Entropy is still really the only one that I would even want to be in. Mask, I don't really get it. So you can do your research on all of these tokens if you are like really looking to get into it. But that is kind of what I'm doing to just make sure I'm aware of everything coming out. And then after the number 3 move, after we've looked at all of these, this is just going to ensure that you don't miss anything throughout the day. You don't miss any new token coming out. Honestly, Axiom isn't a bad place to use the scanner. Like going on Discover is ideal sometimes because you see tokens that are getting a lot of volume quickly. This Discover page is going to show you tokens that are getting high volume right now, so that's not bad. And then if you want to get like really degen and you want to know everything that's graduating, I don't really hang out here a lot, but if you're just going to go to the Pulse and you can just look at all of the graduated tokens on this side, you can get also kind of an idea of what's popping. This is just if you're kind of degenning and looking to play earlier tokens. Again, not something I really focus on. Don't really care about all of these graduated tokens. But if you're looking to cover every single aspect of every token coming out, these technically 4, right? We have Dex Screener homepage. We have this custom screener, 10K, 100K, 40 mil, 36, 200K minimum volume. That's fine. And then the Discover page on Axiom is fine. And Pulse. So also I know tools like there exist like Fabrique, even LP Agent, stuff like that. Those are all good tools. That's fine. If you want to use those, these are gonna make sure you don't miss stuff as well. It's just not personally. Wow, DHG is a trending pool. I was looking at this earlier. I wish I LP'd this earlier, to be honest. Okay, regardless, though, you can use Fabrique, you can use LP Agent, and also I am gonna shout out Charting AG. This is a software I don't usually use other terminals, but I actually met the lead for this guy in at Met Dobby. He's very good. And I think he was listening to a stream of mine, and I was talking about how I thought it would be very beneficial for you to be able to the range, see the range on your screen, which I think is really cool. Like right here, this is we're on MetUSD. Here, by adjusting your range here, is gonna determine, you know, how wide. So I really, really like that. I think that's super cool. So while you're not going to see me using this software, maybe I will on stream. But this is some third party. This is a third party software that I can definitely I'll vouch for. Just because I think the tech is very, very good. Like this is something that I've always wanted. This little slider. I don't need it as much because I just create my ranges using the whatever price range tool, and then I replicate it on Meteora. But like I said, not a bad Snowman, the legend. What's up, fans? Does that help you guys out in terms of scanning tokens? Yeah, I keep meaning to shout him out more, but like I said on stream, I'm usually just using the native Meteora UI, even though this is a good tool, especially if you're just starting out. So he's been very nice and kind following up with me. So I figured I should shout him out there. Awesome. Mirko says that helps. Beautiful, beautiful. Anything else? Anything else you guys are looking to get into? It's not super active right now. We're back at $45 range here. As you can see, this is the entropy range I set up. Still have minus 86%, about $45 in range. This PNL I don't think is accurate. I think it's just because Solana has gone up. So one thing, are you also part of ABC? Yes, technically I am Synexter. I'm just super bad at responding, so they probably are not super happy with me. One thing I want to talk about real quick. Obviously, you guys probably know about LP Agent and Ultra LP. Those are all good P&L tracking tutorials. Meteora added in this P&L tracking tool, which is very cool. But one thing that I want to mention is that ever since I have started trading using Meteora, I have always calculated my P&L in terms of Solana. So I don't really care about the P&L in terms of USD or whatever currency you're using, because I like to track the wallet P&L in terms of Solana. So while you have a P&L here, it's good to know. I recommend tracking it in terms of Solana. So for that reason, I always enter pools with even amounts of Solana. So for example, I opened this one with 6. Sometimes I go with 7. Haha. This one I went with 5. So you can see I'm going by even amounts, because when we start suffering impermanent loss and the pool value starts depreciating, we can easily calculate how much we're up in Solana. So for example, we're down 0.09 Sol on this pool in impermanent loss. But we can go over to here, we see 0.088 in Solana, and then 0.085. We are clearly in profit here, even though it's only like 0.06 in profit. So being able to calculate your P&L in terms of Solana is really going to help you out in the future, I think. Almost 200 views. What's up, Sam? Solana Maxi, of course. Solana on top. Yes. Agreed with all of you guys. So yeah, that is another secret tip that I think is very beneficial to know. I swear I've heard this same song. I'm on like lo-fi Japanese. Pretty good vibe with the Jupiter Cat Lumpur. Not that I'm going, but yeah. So yeah, I wish there was something that was a little bit more active right now, but that's fine. We don't need a new play right now. We're still in entropy. We're in Kurumi. We just set up a range on Kurumi. 200 views. Yes, sir. 130. The only problem I will say, no crime season in Lumpur. No, I can't really afford it right now. I can't really afford it, and it's a super long flight. But hopefully next year we can make it to all the events. Yeah, unfortunate. I wish I could go. If I could just like teleport there, it'd be a lot easier too. I was struggling on that plane ride to Abu Dhabi. It was really tough. Can't afford cab. Bro, I don't have a job anymore. Trust me, it's a little bit harder. Yeah, I can't. Or I could afford it, but it's not worth it. How many hours again from you to Dhabi? It was like a 12-hour flight, and I think it would be like even farther to Singapore. Kuala Lumpur's in Singapore, right? But yeah, wish I could go. Not gonna be there though. T-Pay. If this is a token that I'm kind of planning on being a home run. If I can get a bounce to 400k, this pool is gonna do very well. Malaysia. I'm so dumb. Wait, Malaysia, Singapore's in Malaysia, right? Right. 12 hours, yeah. Yeah, it was really far. And I was flying economy and I was like sick on the 12-hour flight. I was like literally dying. I was trying to get rid of my sore throat, so I was drinking so much. I'm stupid. I'm stupid. My geography really isn't that bad. I swear I'm not that dumb. But yeah, I was drinking so much water on the flight over to Abu Dhabi that like I think I stood up to use the bathroom like 10 times or 7 times, at least 7 times, and I was in a middle seat too, so I just felt bad for the guy. Okay, I almost typed in Cat Lumpur. Malaysia. Singapore's right here. That's why I was getting it mixed up. Okay. Oh, Singapore is its own country. I see. Okay, good to know. And then this is what? This is Thailand. Okay, yeah. And Philippines are right here. My friend, actually, two of my best friends are Filipino, and they're coming to visit the Philippines in like, I think like 2 days. They're actually leaving. Where's VH right there? I know where the Philippines are. But yeah, both of their families are from the Philippines, so they're going over there. They don't know anything about crypto or Meteor or something. I'll tell them to link up with you guys. Yes, whenever I've gone on some family trips and stayed with them, I've had adobo before. Adobo is so good. I tried to make it myself one time and I completely botched everything. Completely botched everything. But yes, adobo, bullish adobo. So good. You know, yeah, I know. I've been trying to put them on forever. None of my IRL friends listen to me. They never did, but it's okay. Only one person only one of my in my real life friends has used MediaWare before. I can't believe Ralph ran all the way back up to all-time highs. I didn't even realize it did this. My friend, my friend got rugged so hard on this token. I think he lost like 4 or 5 soul or something. He like sold on the rug and then it ran back up and I know the feeling. I know the feeling of selling and then it running back. Hopefully you guys don't get like FOMO in that case. It's like really the worst feeling ever when you sell and it just runs back up. Been happening to me as well. But you just have to stay strong mentally and move on because you can't let the FOMO get to you. When are they coming? So you get Meteora Philippines merch. Oh, I would love to. Um, Sinag, I'll let you know where they're going, and I'll keep you posted. I will. Bro, oh, I'm so sorry, fans. I didn't see your messages. Sorry. I've joined here better quality, bro. I'm missing important part about screening coin and set filter on deck screener. You want me to go over it real quick? Um, sure, we can go over it real quick. So what I was saying is like my daily routine is I wake up, I check the deck screener homepage just to get a feel for what's running, the volume, and then this is my custom filter I use. I'll leave that up on screen. But 10K minimum liquidity, 100K minimum market cap, 40 mil maximum market cap, 36-hour maximum pair age, and then 200K 24-hour volume minimum. And then if you just sort by age on newest, it's going to just ensure, like, since we last checked, there's not been another dex paid besides K or whatever this is. So that works out perfect. Nothing new here that we need to pay attention to. And like I'm not always just hanging out here with my eyes glued to this, but like I'll check it once every 30 minutes to an hour, whatever. Psype Anime is the crazy runner today. I know, I know. I think we actually looked at this one. So this one's a little bit scary to me because it's already so high market cap. Um, I'm just scared that this thing is gonna drop down to like 1 mil. It might not. And it might actually be a good idea to be in this pool. But just me personally, it's something I'm staying away from. Sorry, fans. Did that help you out? He said that so many times. I'm just not looking at that chat. Yeah, if you guys are in this, let me know if it is good feed generation. I'm not sure. Like I said, I haven't touched it, so I'm not entirely sure. Well, good engagement on the stream for sure. Thank you guys for being active. Check its narrative. Okay, okay. Yeah, I actually don't know the narrative, so good call. Good call. Something went wrong. What is the lore? Can you fill me in? The lore, okay. The lore, a news network built on a single conviction, anime. Sup, anime was created to deliver the world's signal like a broadcast we actually choose to watch. Just the story repackaged as cinematic anime news. When legacy media turns everything into noise, we want to turn it into a scene. The mission is simple: expose the dark secrets, the power plays, the manufactured headlines, and do it through a language we all understand. That isn't escapism. Am I able to see like the actual art they have? I don't understand. Okay, okay, here's everything. Okay, the lore is pretty cool. Greggy says don't care lore, care only fees. So the lore is important, I will say. Usually when I'm looking on stream, I'm not doing deep dives on stuff, but if you're heavily LPing something, you do kind of want to know what the lore is. But I agree, fees are important, but lore is definitely important too. The art is sick. Yeah, the art is sick. You're right. This has to be this has to be AI, right? It's pretty cool. The art is really, really good. Could you please take a look at Will Floki and let me know what you think about it? Yes, we will. It's hard to be AI. I'm just wondering. I think you're right too. But I'm just wondering how they put it out so quickly. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they're putting stuff out frequently, and it takes a lot of time to make this stuff if it is real. But I have no idea. I have no idea. Looks not AI. Okay, you guys probably know better than me. I'll take your word for it. 2.6 million views is pretty crazy. Thank you, Elon. I figured this was Iran. Iran. That's cool. Removing the hijab. I guess. I don't know if that was symbolic or not. Wow. It's pretty cool, man. Honestly, the lore is good now that I'm looking at it. I don't know why I didn't. Okay, we don't have to watch the rest of that. I get the gist. Okay. So, it does get a boost of a rating in my book now that I know everything. But again, even here, even with the lore and everything I know, even though it's still getting 36 mil in volume per day, um, I'm probably not going to touch it. And it doesn't hurt to touch it and give it a shot, but just personally, I'm not because we'll see how much like there's going to be so much TVL in this pool I already know. Yeah, there's almost $1 million in TVL here. 24-hour fee is really high though. So honestly, maybe it is ideal to be in it. If you guys enter this pool, let me know how it goes. Let me know how it goes. I think the art was created way before then. Yesterday, the coin was made official by the artist. He posted yesterday, only 2 days after he created the token. So I guess the art was made. Oh, I see. Good lore, Lester. Thank you for filling me in. 200, almost. It says 193 on my screen, so almost there, almost there. I think I might be going back to bed after this, guys. Synagster says yes, the art was created. Okay. Well, we'll stick on for a little bit longer, probably like 10 or 15 more minutes, but I just want to say thank you guys for. Oops, sorry, I'm checking my phone. Thank you guys for all of the really good questions. You guys have been like probably the best stream audience, I would say. You guys were just asking good questions all the time. So I appreciate it. Very good, very good. Very enjoyable stream. I felt like I got some good educational content out there. Gonna have to. Hopefully, Synaxter does some clipping because I didn't timestamp anything. I was I was like taking a bath and saw it 1.5 mil market cap. That's crazy. Yeah, we're getting some crazy runners. Met PH to the moon. Agreed. Agreed. Bullish Met PH. My friends are my friends visit the Philippines sometimes, so probably would be a while. But if I ever come visit, I'll let you guys know, and we can link up for sure. That'd be super cool. Thanks, Sinek. I might have to steal some of your clips. At least we have the Meteor PH logo in it. I know it's like not the best. I wish it was like a circle or something, but PH best crowd always. I'm starting to believe you. It was a very good stream. I never stream in the mornings either, so I actually really appreciate Synextra convincing me to do it because it was a good time. Karumi, what do we want to look at? We want to make sure entropy is doing okay. Again, this is something where like it's moving so slow because I went so wide. Like it's not super exciting. I'm only $50 in range, but something that we can just chill in throughout the day and monitor. And you guys already know all of this. You guys are already LPing, so like you know how it goes, but it just makes it like way less stressful. You nocturnal, basically I am Synag. I think I usually wake up at like 11 a.m. or maybe around this time. It's 10 a.m. for me. It's 11 p.m. for you guys, so yeah, I'll probably let you all go soon. We can answer a few more questions and then we can head off. But I'm definitely down. I'm definitely down to do it again at some point. It started since I started 40 minutes ago. I don't think that's accurate. I think the it says I'm still live. Oh yeah. Okay, 109. Yes, yes, yes. Just noticed you're a Remilio and joiner. Of course, of course. It's actually the other one. Um, it's one of these. And I should. Oh, they're back at 1.3. I might end up buying some of these here. I think these are not a bad bid. Unrelated, but when I was looking at, I almost aped some at 2.7 souls, so I'm glad I didn't do that. But I think I might scoop some of these down here. There's so many now. There's so many here at a low floor, so we'll see. We'll see. What's the lore in that NFT? That's a good question. Some other people probably know better than me. There's some person called Charlotte Fang, right? Charlotte Fang, some sort of like digital designer. Charlotte Fang 77. I think this person. So they initially created the Neo Chibi art, which was My Lady Maker. My Lady Maker. I watched an interview actually. Um, these were supposed to be more of a like feminine style, like more orientated to female sort of style of art. And maybe I think they all had their unique communities. Remelia babies. Wait. And then so you can see like very similar style art. But the Remilio I think was supposed to be more of an edgy community. Obviously a more masculine sort of art style, but you can see the similarities between and then the name of these, I can't say it on stream. Um just took the Remilio style, made it a little bit more degenerate and put it on Solana. I think is the lore behind that. Okay, so enough talking about NFTs. I don't even really trade them, but I did wanna. Someone brought it up, so Mier and Meteor PH, what's up? Nice profile pic. Nice profile pic. 202. We made it. We made it. Synagster. We made it. We made it. All right, so a few more questions if we have any, and then I think we're gonna head off. Myrna, I will follow you back as well. Thank you for the follow. Also, all of you guys, Mirko, I gave you a follow. Lester, I'll give you the follow. Sam, give you the follow. Kelko, all of you guys, I'll follow all of you. Arnie, I'll give you the follow. W in the chat. Honestly, I think you guys obviously a lot of the viewers in my other chats are a lot of W's are interactive, but they're usually asking like super basic question like what are you trading on, stuff like that. So it's nice having people um, that are understand what's going on, and we can have a little bit more of a directed sort of educational stream. So I really appreciate all of you guys. Kurt, I'll give you the follow if I don't already. But I appreciate all of you for real. Bunch of W's. Thank you guys for being here. It was very, very good turnout. And yeah, we'll have to do it again. I think maybe next time we just do something similar. Kind of go over like the same material. Like I don't always have that much to talk about unless it's a lot of these plays, unless there's a lot of plays popping off, excuse me. There's stuff to talk about, but like I said, like as you guys know, my strategy is really copy and paste usually. So it's not always super complicated. If I have one soul, thank you EYS. If I have one soul, what is the best to grind it to 10 soul? So as you guys know, I have the one soul to whatever we're at challenge right now. I actually started with 1.5. You can start with 1, doesn't make that much of a difference. Um, but I'll say, what's the best to grind it out to 10? So I would say doing the bid ask one-sided soul strategy. That's what I always used from the very, very beginning of this challenge. Use the same one. So uh, single-sided bid, and then I would say usually don't full port unless there's like an A plus 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 opportunity that you're in and the fee generation is so high. Um, Obviously you can full port at that point, but sorry, I lost my train of thought. Usually you're gonna want to size around like 0.25 to zero point 0.5 soul per position, and then be in 2 or 4 positions at a time. But yeah, keep it decently low. Don't full port. Don't go in with your 1 soul all the time. Also for the reason of just being able to get into other stuff. So yeah, I'd say zero point 0.5 to 0.25. Position sizing, go pretty wide on your curve. Oxfans asks, why BA not spot? So the reason I do bid ask is because you're going to suffer less impermanent loss when you're doing bid ask. When you're doing spot, it's fine, but you're going to be more in trouble if it dumps hard. So spot is ideal. I'm trying to draw out the bid ask curve, and I'm going to try to draw out a spot curve. So spot is going to be ideal because you're going to get more fees towards the top of your range. Spot is not ideal if it dumps super hard. This is going to be spot. Let's see if we can make it somewhat even. It's actually pretty good, guys. It's actually pretty even. So this is spot, right? This is bid ask. So technically, by going spot, you're going to make more if it does something like this and comes up. You're going to make more on spot in this scenario because it's going to hit wider. The bins up here are going to have more Solana in them. But the reason why spot is maybe not ideal is because you're going to suffer more impermanent loss. Impermanent loss occurs because from the very beginning, I think all of you guys know that these bins function technically as buy limit orders. So from the very first bin that you get into, if the price is now down here at this point, these 2 bins up here are going to be the token now. These tokens are not, if the token goes down to here, the bins up here are not doing anything, right? Like they're not getting any order flow. So these are not getting action. So if the price is down here, the tokens up here in your range are just depreciating as the price goes lower and lower. Like if you had $1 here, if there's $1 of tokens in this bin right here, and it goes down 50%, this dollar is going to be worth 50 cents now. So the reason why spot is not super ideal is because if it dumps down to here, then you're going to be down a lot more in impermanent loss because you have more tokens size up here depreciating. Now, spot is good, right? Like I said, if the token range is here and goes up, you're obviously going to make more in this case. But you make more in the bid ask case if the token for some reason kind of dumps kind of hard and ranges around here. You're going to get more in fees on bid ask, and you're going to suffer less on impermanent loss because your bigger order size is going to be down here. So the fee generation down here is going to be larger than the fee generation on the spot curve. Now, like I said, I don't know if you saw earlier, but sometimes I'll go like 4 soul bid ask and 1 soul spot, and I'll make kind of a hybrid mix curve. But yes, hopefully that answers your question on why I use bid ask, and it just protects you way harder. Like you're gonna suffer if for some reason this thing dumps down, and you're in this 1 soul. This might be worth 0.6 soul at the bottom, so you're gonna be down like 0.4. If you did 1 soul in here, it'd probably be worth anywhere from 0.5 to 0.4 soul at the bottom. So just protects you. That answer your question, fans? Yes, awesome. No problem, no problem. Okay, guys. 1 more minute, and then we're probably gonna head off. I think I'm gonna go back to bed for a bit. I'm gonna try not to, but I probably will. But it's been great. It's been great. It's been great, fellas. I'm out of tea. I might get more tea and maybe do something productive for a little bit. But don't leave us Ubuntu, the first message you sent. But yeah, if you got, I gave you the follow Ubuntu. If you guys have any questions personally, WQ&A. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, EYS. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sinexter, for setting this all up. Best regional community leader. Don't quote me, but not to put anyone else down. But you put it together, so good work on that. But yeah, any of you guys, feel free to DM me. I'm always here to help, and I will keep you posted. So much learning in just 1 hour. Thanks, Kurt. That means a lot. I appreciate that. I would say it was a success. So awesome engagement. Good questions. Sinexter says I met Crime and Dobby. Yes, Sinexter did meet me. He's like, I'm Sinexter. I'm like, no way. I love the profile picture. I love the Sinexter profile picture. I remember that one always stuck out. Oh, I appreciate you. Thanks for the interview. I'll meet him soon. Yes, Lester. I hope so. But anyways, guys, I think I'm gonna head off now. Awesome questions. It was probably like one of the most enjoyable streams I've done, to be honest, just because you guys were on point. You knew what to ask. You had great questions. So feel free to tune in to the other streams. I should be going live tonight again. Won't be as pointed and informational, but we can just review whatever happened. Cat and Crime Season, agreed. Sinexter, see you again, bro. Thank you, Sinexter. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Meteor PH. It was an awesome time. I would love to do it again. But yes, thank you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll always be here to answer anything. But I'll see ya.